Hello everyone, my name is Moji. You're watching a Bitcoin Bubble News channel. No matter what, each coin will be worth $1 million. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. When you look at these power rules and other things, the future does seem to fit in with the past, right? These things are happening in clear trends. There's something off about this walk. I've never seen this kind of info before, okay? I've also looked at a huge amount of info like stock prices, bond prices, goods prices. I've learned about all of these things. But it's the biggest power rule I've ever seen. This is really strange, right? I believe Bitcoin is unique because it's something that your generation will not see again for at least another 10 years. You're 36 years old, so you might never get that chance again. Do you get what I mean? That one time that could make or break your whole life, right? Because if they mess up, that's it. At a fundraiser, Donald Trump promised that if he was re-elected, he would undo the crypto policies of the Biden government within an hour. He spoke out against democratic rules on Bitcoin and presented himself as a strong supporter of its future. At the fundraiser, Coinbase leaders and Gemini co-founders were seen. Trump used it to talk about his plans to fight back against Biden's anti-crypto activities. Trump directly attacked SEC Chair Gensler's enforcement actions and promised to stop them right away if he won again. His stance shows that he wants to change US coin policy and win support from the crypto community. On the other hand, US spot Bitcoin exchange traded funds ETFs saw gains for the 19th day in a row on Friday, adding a total of $13.9 million. With net inflows of $168 million, BlackRock's elliott once again led the pack. First, one thing we know about Bitcoin is that it does a lot of nothing most of the time and then moves very quickly, right? Just so you know, the guy with the stick is a meme of that type. There's a little of that when you poke Bitcoins and say, do something, do something, do something right. That's how Bitcoin always works, right? There's this thing, it's like I remember going to see my dad in New York and getting him to invest in Bitcoin. It was around June of last year, and Bitcoin was selling at $25,000. He tells Fred, I'm really getting, a little disappointed to get out. I'm like, no. Daddy says, it's just sitting here at $25,000. I'm like, your dad. I said something like, just wonderful. Don't worry about it. You should know that this will do really well, so don't even think about selling your Bitcoin. He didn't really sell it. Still, I believe that moving around for 3 months is completely normal. It doesn't matter. It looks like everything is fine. I don't think much of what we're going through now. I don't have any thoughts or feelings about it. Another thing I've learned is that I have no idea what Bitcoin will do in the next month. I kind of said, I like to look at the like everyone else. I click refresh 50 times a day. But really, do I have any other idea besides the question I'll answer tomorrow? No, what do I know about it since I have to do it next month? No, what does Bitcoin say I do next year? I have no idea. Think about it for a bit in the next year. But also think about it for the next 2 to 4 to 5 years. Yes, I believe I think that's a pretty good point, right? And I think the power law helps put a number on that. However, I must say that we don't have magic wands. To see where this stuff is going, we have a lot of doubts. I remember a guy who was dealing. As someone who has worked in the field for years, I can say that Bitcoin is even harder to understand than most things. I made trades, it goes up, it goes up just when you least expect it. Like when you're sure it's going down, it goes down. Or when you're sure it should go up, it goes up. So, in this part of the growth pattern, think about being a bit cornered and knowing that right is understanding. You won't be able to guess what will happen. So if you're sitting there trying to braid this thing, don't use too much force. If you look at the Bitcoin price regularly and graph time in years and price in dollars, I don't think you'll be able to predict it. You won't be successful, and I don't think that's a good way to make money. When you look at it, it's hard to find a pattern. Look at this and take it. It looks good. We had a big run in 2017 and then crashed. Then we had another big run in 2020 and then crashed again. We're back. What do I mean? Where is the pattern? Right now, it doesn't look like there's a trend. If you look at it and say, well, I'll put the time in years since the beginning, and then I'll put the Bitcoin price log now, you can see a pattern better. It's kind of mysterious, and it looks like, well, okay, this graph shows that it's going up. Okay, this is kind of a curve. That's kind of interesting, you say. Then you say, wait a minute, let's look at the price and the time on a logarithmic scale. Now that you look at both of them in terms of log blocks, the curve stands out and you think, oh, okay. This is a sentence, not only is it a line, but it's also very spread out. This line really doesn't follow the path. Based on this line, it's very tightly bound, right? You know what the correlation value is, right? That part of the info that goes to the line turns out to be about 96%, so you're thinking, how is that even possible? Right now, if you look this over, you know, 1 or 2 orders of magnitude, like the difference between $1 and $100, you might say, okay, I get that. But this is data from over 15 years, and it goes from 10 cents to almost $1,000. Okay, so you should know an enormous amount of space to the right of the guy with the Styx data beam. There's a little of that when you poke Bitcoins and say, do something, do something, do something, do something right. That's how Bitcoin always works, right? There's this thing, you know, it's like, and I remember going to see my dad in New York and getting him to invest in Bitcoin. It was around June of last year and the price of Bitcoin was $25,000. He's like, you know, Fred, I'm honestly a little sad to have to leave. I'm like, no, Dad. He says, you know, it's just sitting here at 25,000. I'm like, your dad? I said something like, just wonderful. Don't worry about it. You should know that this will do really well, so don't even think about selling your Bitcoin. He didn't sell it, but I think we'll just take a 3 months of moving around is completely normal. It doesn't matter. It looks like everything is fine. I don't think much of what we're going through now. I don't have any thoughts or feelings about it. Another thing I've learned is that I have no idea what Bitcoin will do in the next month. I kind of said, you know, I like to look at the like I'm a monkey like everyone else 50 times a day. I click new 50 times. Do I really have any other ideas besides the question to do tomorrow? No, what do I know about it since I have to do it next month? No, what does Bitcoin say I do next year? I have no idea. Think a little about the next year, maybe